Hello everyone and welcome to day 94 of the 1000 days of Nocode challenge. By default, your app will be private, which means only you, the owner of the application, will be able to see the app. In one of the videos, we have spoken about collaboration, but you can only add a limited number of collaborators in your app based on your app plan. But what if you want to share your app to somebody else without adding them to collaboration? It could be that someone wants to look at what you have done and they want to replicate it, and that's why they want read-only access. Maybe you want to give them edit access so it becomes a open playground for anybody to come and edit your app, whatever it is, for whatever reason. So how do we control all of that? This particular control is in Settings General tab. Today we are going to explore exactly that, along with a few more parameters that we can set in the General tab. So let's get started. Okay, so let's understand the Settings General tab. So I'm going to General tab, and from the beginning you can see we have privacy and security, application rights, right? Define who can see and modify the app editor. So when you make this a private app, then that means that only you, the owner of the application, can access this, along with any collaborators that you have added over here, right? So we have done a video on collaboration. You can watch that. If you make this as everyone can view, okay, what this means is you can copy this particular link, and I'm going to incognito mode just to show you how this works. I can open this particular app. It says read-only mode, and I can actually go to any of the pages. I can see all the pages and reusable elements that I've created. I can go to data. I can see all the data, everything I can read. I will not be able to make any changes, but I'll be able to read everything, right? So if I go here and delete this, this will not get deleted because I've got read-only access, right? I'll not be able to change anything. I'll not be able to change the app plan. I won't be able to do anything. It's read-only, right? I'll go back to the app and I will make this as everyone can edit. Now, what I've done is I've given access to edit as well. So if I go here and delete this, now if I refresh this particular page, the app is in edit mode. Anybody who has the link of this particular application will be able to edit, right? So it includes deleting. So I can delete anything that I want, right? So be very careful when you're giving access to anybody in public. Okay, if you meant to give them edit access, then it's fine. But if you want to give them read-only access, then be careful with the settings. Let's come back. And once you give this access, you have the option of no permission, view only, view and run as, view and edit, which we saw in the collaboration section. This works exactly the same. So you can manage this, and you also have an option to limit access to this app in run mode with the username and password, right? Now, because my app is an agency plan, this will be by default added. But let's assume that I change this plan to free plan. It'll ask you for reasons, I'm adding some reason. Okay. Now I'm in the free plan. If I go to General tab, so we can also limit the access with username and password, which we have already covered when we were talking about agency plan. You can also watch that, right? And do not apply password for live. You can enable this or disable this. Because we are in agency plan, it will not allow us to enable this stuff. We have also covered what is password policy, and we have defined a password policy here. You can also check that. Redirect users who haven't changed their password. So if you want them to change their password, then you can allow them to be redirected to a particular page so that they can change the password, right? This is something that you can set up so that you force them to change the password, let's say for example every 6 months or whatever it is. So, and then we have activate two-factor authentication. In the growth plan, I told you that we get two-factor authentication available, and this is the place where you can activate it. And there are a few parameters that we'll like I said, disable it for now. Now we can see allow to render the app in a frame, iframe. Basically by default it will be blocked Okay, I'll show you what iframe does, right? So allow when same origin would mean that you can do a iframe of your app when the domain linked to this application and the domain where you're going to add it as an iframe are from the same origin, which means the parent domain needs to be the same, right? So this will allow only when the parent domain is the same for both of the locations. And this one is allow all iframes, like you are allowing anybody to create an iframe of your app. This particular settings will allow anybody to take the link of your app and add an iframe in their applications, right? So I will block it for now. Then we have do not set cookies on new visitors by default. By default, cookies are set. So if you do not want that to happen, then you can check this box and leave it as is. Now we have favicon. Okay, favicon is basically what you see over here, right? You can see the bubble logo here. And so I'm going to clear this. I'm going to add, let's say, this particular favicon. So this one, I'll click on open. Once we do this, if we go to preview mode, because we are in the agency plan, it will ask us for the username and password. I will put that, click on sign in. You can see that the icon has changed here, right? So if you want your branded icon to be shown for your users, then change that over here, right? And now whenever we do any change, if we go to the register page, when we register a user, I'll click on this one. I'll click on register. Quickly watch this. There was a progress bar in the bluish or greenish color, right? And that's precisely what this is. Now, if you change this to, let's say, red, and now if you register, put it on domain details, rate this, click on this, register. You can see that it is red. So this settings can be controlled from here. Likewise, when you have a repeating group, if there are a lot of data to be loaded on the page, there's a spinner that runs through until the data is loaded. And that color is this one. If you want to change it, you can change it for that. Now, remove bubble mention in console. You can remove this if you don't want bubble to be mentioned in consoles. So whenever you're debugging and all, if you're using maps element in your application, you'll have to add this geocode API key and maps API key over here. Bubble by default gives you access to maps element for testing. But once you want to go live, you have to add these keys here. Whenever your app reaches the limit, okay, you will get a email notification. If you don't want the emails to come, then you can disable it over here, right? Likewise, if you want to enable Algoria search, then you can enable it over here. These are the things that we have not covered so far. So if you're not understanding what these are, ignore it for now, right? Likewise, if you want to change the iOS, appearance, then you can do over here. You can hide Safari UI element or prevent the user from zooming, right? You can add the icons based on whatever sizes they have given and so on and so forth. And next comes the custom font, which we have covered specifically in one of the videos. So you can watch that. Design import is an option where you can import the Figma designs from Figma into Bubble. We have tried this multiple times and the result is not so great, and that's why we have not covered this. There are multiple other third-party Chrome extensions available which can import Figma designs in a much better way than this particular option that we have here. Anyways, so that's for some other day maybe. App file management is an option where you can optimize the application, right, or clean app changes history. So if you remember, we went and did copy or restore data. So that data will be stored somewhere, right? And if you do not want that to be stored because it's taking some space, you can click on this particular button and clean the app changes history. So this is the option where you can clean all the app changes history which will be stored. And this is to optimize, which means if you're not using anything, then you can use this one, right? And this one is to optimize application. And basically what this means is if you have any plugins that is installed, but you're not using it, then this particular option will tell you which are the plugins that are not being used so that we can remove it. And it also takes care of multiple other optimizations based on our usage. So you can see here that what are the things that we are not using, right? So unused plugin is Simple Looper, we have not used it. Unused style, warning alert, unused style, standard search, right? So there are so many styles that we have not used, so many custom types that we have deleted, right? We have deleted fields and so on and so forth. So it gives us all the information that is not being used in the application, right? So you can see all of this and then click on clean app, which would clean everything that is not being used, including your styles, including the plugins that is not being used, including the fields that we had created but deleted it later. It is not being used anymore, and so on and so forth. So that is how you optimize your application with regards to whatever is not being used. And then we have importing and exporting, which is available in other plans. And of course, we have enabled time zone override control. Of course, we have some advanced options which we will not go through in this. I hope this was helpful. Now you know how we shared our app access to all of you so that you can understand what we have been doing and follow along in your application. Some of you might wonder, why do we have to make it public? Is it only when I want to share with my students or learners? No. If you build a plugin, then you will have to demonstrate how your plugin needs to be used. So you will demonstrate that in one of your applications, and that application needs to be made publicly available so that anybody can see how your plugin can be used in projects. That is also another use case for making your app public. Take a moment to check all the settings that we covered in the general tab and make sure they're exactly what you want them to be. That's all from me for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.